There are two ways of solving these problems. The first one is the translation method. You translate word by word, and that is going to be, you have to watch out for the word of, that translates as multiplication, and then you have to enter your percents as decimals, and then you'll be fine. So let's write down what we have. So I have this table. What's 10% of $12? The rate is 10% of $12. 12 is the base. So I'm asked to find the amount. Now I'm going to write down word by word what I see. What is? That means n equals. The word is translates as equal. Okay, so what and also what translates as n. So I'm going to do it word by word. What is n equals 10%, and the percent has to go in as a decimal, 0.1, of, that means times, $12. All you have to do is multiply 0.1 by 12, then you're done. The answer is 1.2. So since it's asked in dollars, $1.2. Let's go to the next problem. 30 ounces is what percent of 40 ounces? Now, 30 ounces is what percent? So that is the amount. And percent, I don't know. 40 ounces is the base. So I'm going to write 30 ounces is, so is equal, what percent? So in this case, I'll put a note, n is in decimal. What percent of 40? So be careful if you are taking n as a decimal or a percent. You have to be very careful. So to solve for n, all you have to do is divide 30 by 40. When you divide 30 by 40, you'll get 75. And 0.75 is the answer because you just divide it. And that has to translate as 75% when you change your decimal into a percent. Now let's do the last problem. 12% of what amount of money is $2.20? 12% is your rate. Of what amount of money? The base you don't know is $2.20. $2.20 is your amount. So let's translate it word by word. 12% of, that means times, what amount of money? You don't know. Is equals 220. So to solve for n, all you have to do is divide 220 by 0.12. And when you do that, you are going to get 1033.3. So since this is a word problem, you can say it's $1,033.3. Now we're going to do the same problem, this time using the proportion method. Let's remember the proportion method. Again, you're going to have to recognize it, but the proportion method is a little bit different. In the proportion method, we are going to use proportions, and n is going to be always in percent. If we are talking about the percents, and it's going to be in percent. Let's say 20%, n will be 20, not 0.2. So we're going to do the same thing. So on one part of the proportion, you're going to have a fraction on the left of the equal sign, and another fraction on the right of the equal sign. Right of the equal sign, I'll put the percent. So you're going to have the percent number on top and 100 at the bottom. On the left, you're going to have the amount, and in the denominator, you're going to have base. Okay, Now, once we have this, so we can solve these problems. And once you have it in the proportion, you can crisscross and solve for your unknown. So let's do this problem. What is 10% of $12? 10% is your rate of $12. 12 is your base. N is your amount. So let's plug it in. N divided by 12 is the percent rate, which is 10 over 100. You crisscross it, you'll get 100N equals 120. N is 120 divided by 100, which is 1.2, which is what you had before. So let's do the next problem. 30 ounces is what percent of 40 ounces? What percent? That means you don't know N. You're looking for N%. 30 ounces is what percent of 40 ounces? 40 is your base, and 30 is your amount. So let's write it down. The amount over base, 30 over 40, equals N, you don't know, over 100. Crisscross, 30 times 100, 3,000, equals 40N. Divide both sides by 40. That will get you the N. So when you go 300 divided by 4, you're going to get 75. And 75 is in percent already. So here's your answer, 75%. Let's do the last problem. 12% of what number of money is 12% of what amount of money is 220. So I'm given the percent, 12% of what amount of money. That means I don't know the base. I know the amount, 220. So amount over base, amount is 220 over base equals the percent part, percent number, which is 12 over 100. Crisscross, 220 times 100 equals 12N. To solve for N, divide both sides by 12. So you're going to have N equals, when you do the math, you'll get 1033.3. But as you see, regardless of the procedure, you'll get the same answer.